Assalamu alaikum, hello, and welcome to the News and Culture Show, where we talk about all the news going on in Luton and all the amazing events that are happening in this town. So you can go out and have some fun and find out what's going on in your local community. We also do talk about a little bit about Bedfordshire as well. And this week, I've got a new host joining me. We have Paul Cooper, who you will have seen recently on Friday Night Live. He used to present. How many years ago did you present Friday Night Live?
Oh, crumbs. Last time was about 6-7 years ago.
Yeah, when it was just before COVID.
Yeah.
He took a little hiatus, but this week and a few weeks, you've been on quite a few times now recently on Friday Night Live, haven't you?
2, 3.
Yeah. It's lovely to see, but Paul is now joining us on the News and Culture Show, so I have a lovely co-host to talk about these things with and all the latest things that are happening in Luton, which is really probably helpful because no one wants to listen to me for 26 minutes just talking about Luton. So first off, we're going to look at, obviously, yesterday in Liverpool, there was an incident at the parade. I was in Liverpool yesterday for the parade. I'm not going to go.
You're a Liverpool fan?
I am a Liverpool fan.
I see.
I can feel the judgment already.
Oh no, there's no judgment.
Okay.
No. I'm right. When I was a kid, so I grew up in the 70s. Liverpool, the top team.
Oh, they were the top team. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right up until the year I was born. That was the last time before. That's why we went up, because the last time we won the Premier League was the year I was born in 1989. And then, because I don't really count when we won it during COVID, because no one really could celebrate. But this is the first time we've been able to celebrate. So I went up there, and obviously, the car drove into a crowd of people on Dale Street or Water Street, one of the two. It's kind of in between the two of them. Really sad because it was such a fantastic day up there. It was very similar to the. Did you go to the Luton celebration 2 years ago?
I didn't.
You're not a football person. I remember you saying this to me.
Yeah, I don't know much about football. Okay, so anyone who knows me well, you'll often see me wearing Galatasaray stuff. That's just because my heart lives in Turkey. It's my favourite.
Same here. What's your favourite part of Turkey?
It has to be Istanbul.
Yep, it's fantastic. I'm glad someone else agrees with me on that. Obviously,
There is no Turkey without Istanbul.
No, there isn't.
Yeah, that's hands down. It's the best city in the world if you've never been there. But anyway.
But obviously, 47 people were injured yesterday. 2 were seriously injured, and 27 people taken to hospital. So obviously, our thoughts, probably everyone in the town, is with Liverpool. I know a few people from Luton did go up there yesterday, and hopefully they all got back safely this morning or yesterday. It was quite a long drive back yesterday.
I was reading about this just while we were getting ready. Actually, there's still no information about why this person did it.
There isn't.
There's still no information about motive or anything.
Well, all they're saying is it's not a terror incident and that he's white British, which I think is really good that they've come out with that straight away, because I think a lot of the time in these sort of scenarios, we see a lot on the internet where people will be like, oh, it's an asylum seeker, or it's this, or it's that. And I think a lot of the time it then gives such a stigma, and it's really hard for people to knock those ideas that wasn't the person that was involved and it was someone else. And obviously it is like a white British man that has done this, which is, really tragic.
Yeah, I remember last summer, I was actually out of the country. I was actually in Turkey when all of that kicked off, and I was quite worried actually because my daughter and my son-in-law were still here when it was all kicking off, and watching it from abroad, it was scary what was going on.
It was really scary. I mean, we were very lucky in Luton that didn't really kind of come for us, but it was terrifying because, if you're a Muslim, even if you're white, it sometimes makes you more vulnerable because people will look at you and you get things like race traitor and things like that thrown at you because you're a Muslim that's not necessarily the stereotypical Muslim. And I don't know if that's something you've experienced, Paul.
Oh, yeah. I get this a lot, actually, because obviously over the years, most of my friends will be, have always actually been mainly from the Pakistani community in the UK, and they get the image that, oh, you've got no idea what Islamophobia is like, and this, that, and the other. And I just look at them and smile, and I said, you guys are so naive. They said, but you're white. You know, that's, you know, and I just look at them and I say, I said, are you really that? I said, are you really that ignorant? You really don't think about it, because they'll look at someone like me and you, and they will hate us even more because they see us as a traitor. And then when I put that across to them, I said, so how do you think they treat people like me? I mean, I've been bullied really badly in jobs many times, really, really bad, you know, but. Yeah, well, what can you do? And this is the thing. If you're like for Pakistani origin, you can sort of say, it's racial discrimination, and you've got a ground to actually make a case. When you're someone like me and it happens to you, you can't turn around and say, oh, it's racial reasons or whatever. And there's no religious discrimination in this country.
There isn't.
You know?
There isn't. I mean, there is supposed to be protected under the Equality Act, but I don't think it is as much as other areas.
Oh, I can assure you that it doesn't work. It doesn't work. You know?
Same way disabilities are not covered very well under the Equalities Act. Well, in more positive news, we've got a new mayor.
Oh, okay.
We have a new mayor. She's Amy Nichols. So she is the councillor for Northwell, which I believe is in Marsh Farm.
Okay,
Northwell
I'm
ward.
with you,
Yeah,
Northwell Drive, of course.
Yeah, that's why I think it's in Marsh Farm, but please do correct me if I'm wrong, listeners, and it isn't. So yeah, that's been her ward since 2018. She's been a councillor for a long time, actually. She's only 30 years old, which I think is quite incredible to have quite a young mayor.
Right.
Because
okay.
I think she can connect with the young people in Luton a bit more. You didn't think that was as important, did you?
I like to see politicians that are a bit older, and I don't know. It's just my instinct. Experience gives you the ability to make sounder decisions. That's my honest opinion. So I'm not saying that a younger person can't do it, but anyway, I don't know anything about her, so I'm not going to say anything bad. But so I have a lot of difficulty looking at a politician that's a youngster, for example, like Sunak trying to run the country. I take a lot of winning over, to be honest.
Well, he was pretty terrible.
Well,
I think those sambas alone were enough to put me off for life. But she's actually, if you have seen her, you will have seen her with Rachel Hopkins, because she's her, what's it called? A constituency support manager.
Oh, she's still doing that role?
Yeah, she still will be doing that role alongside, because a lot of people see councillors and think that being a councillor is their only role, and it's actually not. A lot of them have at least one or two jobs that they also do. A lot of them run their own businesses as well. So it's not the only thing that they are as a councillor, and that's it. They do a lot of things alongside, and that's her main role. That's usually where I see her. If I see her out and about, it's with Rachel Hopkins in that kind of role. But she has said that she's really keen to champion the voices of the younger generation in the town. She's also got a deputy mayor, which is Nara Nasir, who's a Saints councillor. She's going to be the deputy mayor this year.
Shahanara Nasir.
Yeah.
I'm just reading it.
I haven't ever met her, but I'm sure she'll do a fantastic job as well. I was at the last mayor's, Tanzim Hassan's last speech a few weeks ago that she did at St Andrew's Church as part of the Spring Fair. We talked to Father Luke a few weeks ago, I did, about that Spring Fair, and she did a really good job. That final speech was fantastic. She spoke kind of passionately about Luton, because she's from outside the town and she's kind of come in as a councillor, and she was really good, and says that she's seen some positive changes. And I think there is some positive changes happening in the town. Not always, but yeah. I
have to say, actually, I mean, I moved here. I mean, a lot of people don't actually pick up where I'm from. They have a lot of difficulty with my accent. So I was originally from Norwich, Norfolk. That's where I grew up, and I moved, then studied in London, and I moved here in '96. So I've been here a very, very long time.
Yeah.
But I have to say, I really think Luton gets an unneeded bad press.
100%.
I've been very happy here. I mean, I've spent most of my life actually working in Luton schools. I have to say, I really do think you can judge a place very well by how the children are, and I've found Luton children really to be quite lovely over the years. And you'll often get an idea that the children aren't good here, and but I've found some really, really wonderful kids that I've taught over the years here.
That's really good to hear. I mean, also we've got mayor changes in Dunstable as well. They've got their first black mayor. They've never had a black mayor before in Dunstable, which I think.
So who's the mayor?
So the new mayor in Dunstable is
Sally
Sally Kimono. She's really fantastic woman. She is a social worker as well. She works as a social worker. And she does a lot, not just in Dunstable, but in Luton as well. She'll work with the Kenyan community. She's got a big group that she's involved with that. I believe she's involved in like a lot of community projects. So it's really kind of good to see her becoming the mayor of Dunstable. She's a really fantastic young woman as well. And I think it's good to see some different mayors in different positions. Or I'm enjoying seeing younger mayors. I know you're not a fan. I mean, the mayoral role is kind of very, in these towns, they don't make a lot of decisions. It's very kind of ceremonial. It's not like they're making big decisions about how the town is run. That's kind of more down to the councillors at that sort of level, kind of Hazel Simmons, and being involved with that. I wouldn't say that it's very much a ceremonial position, the mayors in both Dunstable and Luton. But I think they're good. It's good, positive for the town to see good things.
I think it's positive if they're busy and they're going to be active. So if a young person can bring their keenness from their youth into the role, then that's definitely a positive. But to be fair, I mean, I didn't come across the mayor from last year myself personally.
She was out and about. I have to give her dues.
Sorry, I do apologise. I didn't mean that in a negative.
No, I did
honestly,
see it.
I honestly didn't mean that in a negative. It's just that I didn't come across her to make comment. That's what. Sorry,
yeah, no, I get what you mean. It like she is out and about, but I think there's a big difference. Like we had Bav. You interviewed Bav on Friday Night Live. And Bav was out everywhere. Like, I think if you didn't know who Bav was in the last year, you've been living under a rock. He is the former High Sheriff of Bedfordshire, and he has been out and about everywhere. I think he was at every event possible, always out and about, always doing stuff. Whereas perhaps the mayor, it's very much because they're doing it as another job as well. And they always have their own commitments. I think that perhaps it takes...
Well, he's working hard with that fun run that's being done, isn't he?
The colour run, yeah. We're going to be talking to Salma Khan later about the colour run and how you can get involved in the Food Bank's colour run. So you want to keep an ear out for the second half because there's it's really interesting what they're doing. He's still heavily involved in the community, and it's kind of really got him involved in the community. So he's
a very positive man. I actually interviewed him on Friday just gone. Actually,
yeah.
I was hadn't met him before. I was really impressed with him. Actually, really nice fella.
Catch up on YouTube on Friday Night Live and have a look at that if you are interested as well. So this is a really interesting story about the task force trying to shake off the stigma in Luton Town Centre that it isn't safe. Do you think Luton Town Centre is safe?
Well, it depends. I suppose the difficulty is when do you go out into the town centre? So I mean I don't know. I never go out into the town of an evening. So I can't comment what it's like in the evening time. I mean I only ever pop out and go into the shopping centre personally, which I still call the Arndale.
Yeah, everyone does.
The life of me, actually, I can't even remember what it's called.
I think if you're of a certain age, it's the Point at the minute.
Oh, okay.
The Point
is
its new name.
So many times now, isn't it?
It has. So it's not just during the evening that they're doing this. This is going to be. It is to be for the nighttime economy as well, but they're doing it during the day too because of all the issues that you have in Luton Town Centre, like begging, like street drinking. I mean, these are things that you see. If you have been into Luton Town Centre, you will have seen it. No doubt you have as well. I've written about this since 2021, maybe even 2020, about how bad Luton Town Centre is and how it affects the shopkeepers as well. A lot of them are fed up. They're really fed up and they're shutting up shop. Some of them have shut up shop because they'll just have shoplifters coming in. And if you're a big corporation, you can maybe absorb the shoplifter costs, but when you're a small business, like an individual running a small business in Luton Town Centre, they have so many issues with shoplifting, it's put them off staying. They'll shut up shop because people just walk in, steal everything. There's nothing they can do about it. They call the police don't come. They're fed up.
Why don't the police come?
Well, they do, but sometimes it'll be a case of they don't get arrested or it just doesn't get dealt with, and they just feel very frustrated, I think, was when I interviewed a lot of shopkeepers. I did an article in 2021, I interviewed a few shopkeepers, and they were very frustrated because they have this whole thing where they were gonna fine people for begging, they were gonna fine people for drinking in the streets. That was in 2021. Nothing's much changed. It's 2025 now, so we're 4 years down the line. If anything, the fining for begging probably made all those people move. I don't know if you see them in the traffic lights in London Road.
Yeah.
And Dunstable Road as well.
Yeah, I know what you mean. So coming down to London Road towards where you pass where the Irish pub is on the right, there's always someone there. There's always someone at the lights just before you get to the post office. That. I don't mean this rudely, if it doesn't come across, but honestly, these fellas are like permanent fixtures.
They are.
They're
always the same people.
It's literally like they live there, bless them. You know, it doesn't matter what time of the day you drive past. They're always there. The reason why I always see them, because I finish work. I finish work about 12:30. I just work 3 hours in the morning, and that route past the post office, I have to drive past there every day to go back home. And there's without fail every day.
Every day,
and like you said, it is almost the same person.
It's always the same person. They are lovely people. I've had many a conversation with them over the years. Because I like to go out and speak to the homeless community in Luton and see if there's anything that we can actually do as a town to make it easier for them or like to help them in some way. But I think what you've inadvertently what you've struck on here, what the real issue is why is this happening? Why is it we have a situation where people are feeling the need that they have to do this? These are the real questions that need to be asked, not by us, you know, on the radio, but why is this not coming up as an issue within local and also national government? That's the real answer that should be asked there. Because the thing is, we can often think that this is a local issue, Laura, but it isn't. It isn't. It's sadly, wherever you go. Yeah, wherever you go today, you see this. And I mean, for example, we're talking about the fun run later and food banks. You know, I'm 58 now. Food banks didn't exist when I was a kid. You didn't hear of a food bank. Nope. There wasn't ever an issue when I was a kid where you'd walk past in a supermarket and there was like a collection basket. It didn't exist. These are the real things that need to be addressed today. Why is it that private individuals have had to think about the problems that we've got, and these things have come into existence? You know, I mean, we had a situation perhaps 25 years ago, only 1 child in 7 was in poverty. It's now at 31%. Near enough 1 child in 3 that is growing up in poverty. It's a scary number. It's a really scary number, and I think it's even more worrying because a lot of children this year, it's the last year of transitional protection. So if you don't know what that is, because universal credit came in, and the amount that you can earn on universal credit is only about £9,000 to be qualified for free school meals. However, if you on tax credits, you could earn up to £16,000, which was quite a lot of money, comparison difference. So a lot of children have transitional protection to protect those moving over to universal credit. That ends this year. Those children are not going to be able to access free school meals as of September this year and next year. This year, actually.
So how are they going to eat?
How are their parents going to afford it? There's been no announcement of the government. It's been very quiet. It's crept up very quickly, and there's been no change. Like, the amount you can earn has not changed since it came in. So it's always been like £9,700, which isn't even close to what you'd have to work about 4 hours a week at national minimum wage to get that.
You know, the situation that we have in this country, and being an older person and being aware how things have changed, and you listen to the platitudes that politicians will come up with and say they can't afford it, it's going to cost too much. I'm going to give you some little facts. Now, I'm of the age, we didn't pay for university. So your university was free. There were no fees. There were no loans back then, and you were also given like what it was called a grant. So it's like a gift of money that you would receive for free every term. So you didn't even have to worry about, oh, I've got to get a job to try and get through university. Now, we are led to believe that there isn't money for anything. I actually did some research recently. So the year I went to university, which was 88, I actually looked up what the income of the entire country was back then, and compared it with now. You're going to be shocked at this. The GDP of the UK now is 3 times what it was when I went to university in 88. So when we keep hearing all this business that they can't afford this and they can't afford that, it is a complete lie. The whole problem...
It's a mystery.
The whole problem with everything today is that they want to put across the image that all of the wealth is with income in this country. It is not. That is an absolute lie. By far the majority of wealth in this country is accumulated wealth. It is not income. And this is why we have so many problems today, is because for decades, and I'm literally talking for about 40 years, policies of one government after another, and you can't say it's the Tories or this, it's been both of the main parties.
Yeah, absolutely.
And their policy has been literally government after government to encourage the creation of the billionaire class, with the idea that they are then going to use their wealth to promote business and investment and so on. Now, don't get me wrong, billionaires do a lot, they do set up businesses and they do a lot, but the reality is our system has literally enabled them to keep grasping more and more wealth. And this is why we have poverty in this country. You know, it's not simple, it's not complicated. You know, the public really needs to understand this. Nothing in terms of money happens by accident. It all happens because of policy. So we have a situation where children aren't eating properly because of decisions that government have made. You know, and people go on about this all the time, and I'm always really vocal on all this, because having been a teacher for 30 years, I see the effect that it has on kids.
Absolutely.
You know, nobody can say, oh, this is happening by accident. You have a situation where you'll have 2 parents today working hard, and they can't make ends meet.
They can't afford to pay the school lunch bill, because school lunches are expensive. They're about $2.50 a day, and it's really hard for a lot of parents, even if they're working full time. And you've got to think, even now you get vouchers too in the holidays, and parents are then going to lose out on those vouchers that are really vital. They get £15 a week it's a really big sum. It can make such a difference to a shopping bill.
Yeah.
To having that extra £15 to go a long way. And I think.
So just explain to everybody, because I wasn't aware of this in detail. Why is it that so many families are going to be losing the free school meals in?
Because the transitional protection ends. So if you were previously on tax credits, you've now been moved over to universal credit. That full move is happening this year. Most people I know are now on universal credit. So if you got free school meals because you were able to on tax credits, and you now wouldn't be on universal credit, you now won't have school meals either. But we're going to have to wrap it up for this half. We've talked quite a lot for 26 minutes. In the second half, we're going to be talking to Amia Whiteway from Total Wellbeing Luton about the importance of gardening and how you can get involved to win potentially £500 from Luton in Bloom. And we'll also be talking to Salma Khan from Luton Food Bank about the Colour Run and how you can get involved in that as well. Sounds really exciting. I know we're both potentially interested in taking part, or maybe I'm going to make Paul take part. So join us after the break. Thank you so much. Assalamu alaikum.